There's a particular kind of thought that shows up around 2 in the morning, when the plan you were so sure of suddenly feels fragile, and you start bargaining with a future you can't actually see. That moment, uncomfortable as it is where real practice begins. I'm glad you're here at Mindfulness, a space built for exactly these late, honest moments. In this video, we'll draw on 6 teachings rooted in genuine Buddhist thought to explore what to do instead of bargaining with an uncertain future. Starting with the nature of impermanence, moving into the true cause of suffering, the 8 winds that move through every human life, the fluid and unfixed nature of the self, the real place for effort, and finally, the steadiness that can hold you even when 2 in the morning comes around again. Let's sit with this together. 1. Everything you're holding onto is already moving. Sit with this for a moment. The tea in your cup is cooling as you read this. The light outside is shifting, even if you can't see it happen. Your own body is different than it was 10 years ago, and it will be different 10 years from now. Nothing has stayed still, not even once, not even for a second. This is one of the earliest and most central observations in Buddhist teaching, known as anicca, or impermanence. It isn't a poetic idea. It's presented as a plain fact about the nature of things. Everything that has come together will eventually come apart. Every relationship, every job, every season of life, every version of yourself you've ever been, all of it arising, changing, and passing, the way weather moves through the sky. Most of us don't argue with this in theory. We nod along, but in practice, we live as though certain things are supposed to be exceptions. We expect our health to hold steady. We expect people we love to stay exactly as they are. We expect the good chapters to last and the hard ones to end quickly. And when reality doesn't cooperate with that expectation, we don't just feel disappointed, we feel betrayed, as if something has gone wrong, when in fact nothing has gone wrong at all. Change was simply doing what change always does. This is worth sitting with, because so much of our daily tension doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from the quiet belief that it shouldn't be happening. A friend grows distant, a body ages, a career shifts direction without asking permission. Underneath the sadness or the frustration, there's often this unspoken sentence: this isn't supposed to be changing, but it was always going to change. That was true before you were born, and it will be true long after. Understanding impermanence isn't meant to make you detached or cold toward your life. It's meant to loosen the grip that causes so much of your suffering. When you stop expecting permanence from things that were never permanent, you stop being ambushed by ordinary change. You start meeting each moment as it actually is, temporary, passing, and for that very reason, worth paying attention to now while it's here. The next time something shifts beneath your feet, try saying quietly to yourself, "This is what changing looks like." Not a crisis, not a mistake, just motion, the same motion that has always been carrying everything, including you. 2. Suffering isn't caused by life, it's caused by the grip. The Buddha's central teaching is often organized into what's called the 4 Noble Truths. The first is simple, though not comfortable. Life includes dissatisfaction, discomfort, and suffering. This isn't pessimism. It's an honest starting point. Birth involves difficulty. Aging involves difficulty. Loss involves difficulty. And even the things we chase for happiness carry a quiet unease. because we know somewhere that we can't keep them forever. But the second truth is where the real insight begins. Suffering has a cause, and that cause is a particular kind of clinging, sometimes translated as attachment or craving. In the earliest teachings, this is called upadana. It doesn't only mean wanting things, it means the tight, insistent grip we place on how things must be, how a relationship must go, how our career must unfold, how people must see us, how the day must turn out. Notice the difference here, because it matters. Wanting a good outcome isn't the problem. Life includes preference, and preference is natural. The suffering begins in the clinging, the refusal to let the moment be anything other than what we've already decided it should be. A delayed flight becomes unbearable, not because of the delay itself, but because of the tight expectation underneath it. This should be going according to my plan. A hard conversation becomes devastating not only because of what was said, but because of the grip on how it was supposed to go. This is genuinely freeing once you see it clearly, because it means suffering isn't simply handed to you by circumstances. It's created in the space between what's happening and what you're demanding should be happening instead. And that space is something you can actually work with. You can't always change the circumstance, but you can loosen the grip. This doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. Buddhist teaching isn't asking you to stop caring or stop trying. It's asking you to notice where caring turns into clenching, where a healthy wish turns into a desperate demand that reality bend to your will. That shift from open preference to tight insistence is subtle, but it's where peace quietly leaves the room. Try noticing it today. When you feel tension rising, ask yourself gently, am I responding to what's happening, or am I gripping onto how I insisted it should be? Often, just asking the question is enough to loosen the hold, even slightly, and a slightly looser grip is where breathing room begins. 3. The 8 winds that move through every life. There's a teaching found in the early Buddhist scriptures describing what are called the 8 worldly winds, or loka dhamma. They come in 4 pairs: gain and loss, praise and blame, fame and disrepute, pleasure and pain. According to this teaching, these 8 winds blow through every human life without exception, regardless of how wise, wealthy, or careful a person is. Read that list again slowly. You've felt every one of them this year, probably this month. You've gained something and felt lifted. You've lost something and felt hollow. You've been praised and felt validated. You've been criticized and felt small. This isn't a flaw in your character. According to this teaching, it's simply what it means to be a person living among other people in a world that constantly shifts. What's striking about this teaching is what it doesn't promise. It doesn't promise a life where the winds stop blowing. It doesn't suggest that with enough practice you'll stop experiencing gain and loss or praise and blame. That would be its own kind of unrealistic fantasy. Instead, it points towards something more honest and more achievable, learning to stay upright while the winds move through, rather than being knocked completely off balance by each one. Think of how differently you might move through a day if you expected the winds rather than resisted them. Praise arrives, and you can enjoy it without needing it to define you. Criticism arrives, and you can consider it without collapsing under it. A gain shows up, pleasant, but not something your peace depends on. A loss shows up, painful, but not something that erases you. This is where the idea of equanimity begins to take shape, something we'll return to later. But even without deep meditation practice, you can start noticing the wins by name. When you feel a surge of validation or a sting of criticism, you can quietly say to yourself, "This is one of the wins. It will pass, the way it always has before." This small habit of naming what's happening, this is gain, this is loss, this is praise, this is blame, creates a sliver of distance between you and the wind. Not so much distance that you stop feeling it, just enough that you're not swept away by it, just enough to remember that you are the sky the wind moves through, not the wind itself. 4. You are not as fixed as you believe. One of the more challenging ideas in Buddhist thought is the teaching of anatta, often translated as non-self. It suggests that what we experience as a solid, unchanging me is actually more like a flowing process. Thoughts, sensations, memories, and habits arising together moment by moment, creating the impression of something fixed when nothing fixed is actually there. This can sound abstract, so bring it down to something familiar. Think of the person you were at 15. Their opinions, their fears, the things that felt unbearably important at the time. Now think of who you are today. Some threads connect the two, but so much has changed that calling them the exact same fixed self starts to feel like a stretch. You've been many people already, held together by memory and habit, not by something solid and unchanging underneath. Here's why this matters for the question of control. So much of our struggle to control life comes from trying to protect a fixed identity, the version of ourselves we've decided is who I am and how things have to be for me. When circumstances threaten that fixed identity, we fight to defend it, sometimes more fiercely than the situation actually calls for. A change in role, a change in relationship, a change in how others see us can feel like a threat to our very existence, when really it's simply change moving through something that was never as fixed as we imagined. This teaching isn't suggesting you don't exist or that nothing matters. It's pointing towards something gentler, that you have more room to move than you think. If the self is more like a river than a stone, then you're not required to defend every version of yourself as though your life depends on it. You're allowed to grow, to be wrong, to change your mind, to become someone slightly different next year without that being a betrayal of who you are. There's real relief in this once it settles in. If you're not a fixed thing that must be protected at all costs, then loosening your grip on how life goes doesn't threaten your identity the way it once seemed to. You can hold your preferences, your roles, even your sense of self, a little more lightly, not carelessly, lightly, the way you'd hold something precious but temporary, appreciating it fully because you know it's here for now, not forever. 5. Put your effort where it actually belongs. If Buddhist teaching says so much about letting go, a fair question follows. Does this mean giving up on effort altogether? The answer, found clearly in the teaching of the Eightfold Path, is no. One part of that path is called right effort, and it points to something quite practical. Not effort aimed at controlling outcomes, but effort aimed at how you show up, moment to moment, regardless of outcome. This distinction changes everything once you understand it. Most of our exhausting, anxious effort in daily life is aimed at things we don't actually control. We pour ourselves into managing other people's opinions of us. We exhaust ourselves trying to guarantee outcomes that depend on dozens of factors beyond our reach: the economy, other people's choices, timing, luck. And when the outcome doesn't go our way, despite all that effort, we don't just feel disappointed. We feel like we failed at something, when really we were trying to control something that was never fully ours to control in the first place. Right effort redirects that same energy toward what actually is yours. Your intentions, your honesty, your patience in a hard conversation, your willingness to keep showing up with care even when the result is uncertain. This is a radically different use of effort than trying to force a specific outcome into existence. One is exhausting and often futile. The other is sustainable because it's aimed entirely within your reach. Consider how this might look in something ordinary, like sending out work you care about or trying to repair a strained relationship. Effort aimed at the outcome sounds like, I need them to respond well. I need this to work out. I need to be seen as impressive. Effort aimed correctly, according to this teaching, sounds different. I will be honest. I will do this with care. I will show up fully and then release my grip on what happens next. The second version isn't passive. It often takes more discipline than the first, because it asks you to give your full effort without demanding a guaranteed reward for it. This is, in many ways, the practical heart of not controlling life. You're not being asked to stop trying. You're being asked to stop mistaking control for effort. They are not the same thing, even though our culture often treats them as if they are. Effort is something you can offer fully, every single day, regardless of circumstance. Control was never fully available to you in the first place, no matter how tightly you gripped for it. The next time you notice yourself gripping toward an outcome, try gently asking, what is actually mine to offer here? Usually, the answer is smaller and more immediate than the outcome you were fixated on. And usually, that smaller thing, done with care, is enough. 6. The steadiness underneath the storm. There's a quality in Buddhist teaching called upekkha, often translated as equanimity. It's frequently misunderstood as a kind of emotional flatness, a state of not caring or not feeling much of anything. That's not what it points to. Equanimity is closer to a deep, settled steadiness that allows you to feel things fully, including joy, sorrow, fear, and love, without being completely capsized by any of them. Picture someone standing at the edge of the ocean during a storm. The waves are large and loud. The wind is fierce. Now picture that same person 100 feet inland on solid, elevated ground, still able to see and hear the storm clearly, still moved by its power, but no longer standing where each wave can knock them over. Equanimity is something like that vantage point. It doesn't remove the storm. It changes where you're standing in relation to it. This is often paired in Buddhist practice with metta, or loving kindness, a quality of warmth extended toward yourself and others, even amid difficulty. This pairing matters because equanimity without warmth can slide into coldness or detachment, and warmth without equanimity can leave you overwhelmed by every wave that comes through. Together, they create something durable, a heart that stays open and a mind that stays steady, even while life continues doing what life has always done, shifting, testing, offering both gain and loss, praise and blame, joy and grief, often within the same week, sometimes within the same day. Here's where all 6 of these teachings quietly meet. You've learned that things change, so you stop expecting permanence where there was never any. You've learned that suffering grows from a tight grip, so you practice loosening it. You've learned that praise, blame, gain, and loss are simply winds that move through every life, not verdicts on your worth. You've learned that the self holding all of this is more fluid than fixed, so you can hold your own story a little more lightly. You've learned to place your effort where it actually belongs, rather than exhausting yourself chasing outcomes you were never guaranteed. And now, equanimity is what allows all of this to settle into something lived, rather than something merely understood. This isn't a state you arrive at once and keep forever. It's closer to a practice you return to again and again, especially on the days when the waves feel largest. You will still feel the sting of loss. You will still feel the lift of good news. That's not a failure of practice. That's simply what it means to be alive, awake, and paying attention. The steadiness isn't about feeling less. It's about having somewhere solid to stand while you feel it all fully. The next time life refuses to go according to your plan, and it will, try recalling this vantage point. You don't need the storm to stop. You only need to remember where solid ground actually is. None of these teachings ask you to control life. They ask you to meet it differently, to notice change without resisting it, to loosen the grip without losing your care, to stand steady while the winds move through. This has been true for thousands of years, long before any of us arrived, and it will remain true long after. If this brought you a little peace today, consider staying a while longer, because there's more of this quiet wisdom waiting for you here. Until next time, walk gently.